Hello everyone, MarcusWolfe here, welcoming you back to another episode of Chrono Cross. Last we left off, we had a very big major lore dump. Like, there's no other way to put it, except that I still have this damn cough. Oh my god, how many times will I have to start talking and then get a cough? It's like really starting to annoy the heck out of me. But anyway, yes, which floor am I going again? 4th floor, yeah. We had a major lore dump. That is the best way to put it. Oh, wait a minute, why am I going? No, And we also realized that we needed to find the leader of the research group or whatever. And he was at the docks. I just forgot about that, so back down I go. But yeah, we did have a lot of major lore. I would say the way this game is sectioned off, the stories come up in separate ways. The first story was, what is happening? How do we manage to cross through, you know, what seems like an alternate universe? And then it goes into how do we get back? Then how to save Kid. And then, after saving Kid, it's like, what is Link saying? And then, we lost our body, how do we get our body back? Yay! And now that we got our body back, what was Link's trying to accomplish stealing our body? Which he did invite us to here to see of Eden. To which now goes into the story of the Nido Isles. So, the story here is sectioned off. I'll explain it later. There. The Time Research Lab, which served as the foundation of this research center, appeared out of nowhere in the year 2300 and was headed up by the scientific genius Balthasar. However, at the peak of his career, he simply vanished. We've continued his work and have come this far, and our work is almost complete. Well, it's about time I headed back. The experiment's about to begin. That's an interesting little bit right there. So this research lab, which I think they mean Chronopolis, just suddenly appeared in 2300 AD. And then over the next 100 years, since Balthasar's disappearance, they've been continuing his research. Now, I'm still of the mindset that this current ruins of 2300 AD, well, it's not ruins, this research lab of 2300 AD is from a timeline where Lavos did not destroy the world. Hence why everything looks so well upkept and actually workable order. So this just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. So it makes me believe that this research center, is capable of jumping not just through time, but also parallel dimensions. Like, it's able to do that. And it's very cool. Ah, yes, and this is a new place, I think. The record of fate is exposed? And that's what that little green thing is the record of fate, the pyramid, opened up. So they're extracting information from the record of fate. Two worlds that are so close and yet so far. In nature, they exist in different dimensions. Oh, look at that. That is a good shot to use right there. Viper Manor. The one on the left is Homeworld Viper Manor that is destroyed. The one on the right is Viper Manor where, well, it's not destroyed obviously. Under the surveillance of the main computer of Chronopolis, Fate. In other words, Fate has always been observing these two parallel worlds and guiding them. Fate has been manipulating the world of El Nido in order to avoid any major change to the history that it knows. If an event on El Nido influences the main continent, the year 2400 in which Fate exists would change. Oh. So, Fate is not wow. So Fate is not only just observing these two parallel universes. There's a reason why it's doing what it's doing. It's not just an observational influence whatever fate is. It's also trying to preserve itself, trying to keep watch of anything that could potentially change its future starting point. Because if the future is changed drastically, then fate will not exist. Therefore, fate is watching over everyone, not only to keep a record, but also to preserve itself from lasting damage, time damage, irreparable time damage. Oh! This paradox could potentially lead to great disaster. The records of fate, Fate's terminals, collect data from all around the world, and input guidance directly into the minds of its users. In this discreet way, Fate is able to control the lives of people without them knowing. Remember how I said in the last episode, like, during the lore dump, it's like, Fate is basically brainwashing people to act in a certain way, and now we know why. It's to preserve history as it knows it. Fate has come from a particular line of history, and now that Fate is basically in 1000 AD, or whatever this time frame is, I think it's 1000 AD. Now that Fate is in 1000 AD, it's trying to keep everything in the right course, so it will not disappear in 2400 AD. Guided by fate, the people of El Nido lead a harmonious life. In a sense, they are nothing more than mere puppets of fate. An instruction to the young girl in Arnie 1 to give up going to the main continent as a poet. Oh my god. That's another world. That's another world girl from Arnie. The one in the restaurant said that she gave up on her dream of being a poet. An instruction to the man in Arnie 2 to give up becoming a fisherman. Wait. Arnie 2, the fisherman of Arnie... Wait, our homeworld? Well, she didn't go to the mainland, but she didn't stop... Okay, never mind. She didn't go to the mainland to study poetry, yes, but she didn't stop doing poetry. The girl from another world, she just gave up completely. Okay, never mind, I misread that. Arnie 2 to give up becoming a fisherman. Yes, now he's just worshipping that weird statue voodoo. A plan to avoid any point of contact with the main continent so as not to affect history. A plan to avoid any point of contact with the main continent. And yet the poor military is here in both time frames. That's not avoiding contact with the main continent. Or do they mean by main contact as in anything that could drastically change history? Like, here's a treaty of 1910 to prevent war, like something like that, I guess. But people coming and going to visit, like the small time people, I guess that's okay? Question mark? However, ever since the formation of the Dead Sea 10 years ago, Fate has been unable to intervene directly with World 1. The best Fate could do was cross the dimension and receive data through the records of Fate, and with much difficulty, Fate succeeded in binding Miguel to the Dead Sea as a watchman. Something happened 10 years ago. What was that? 10 years ago. Oh. 10 years ago, Wazuki and Miguel came here. Well, they accidentally came here while trying to find a way to save Surge from death. And whatever happened here 10 years ago, the system, Fate, the system was unable to regain contact with Homeworld. Because Arnie 1, remember, the girl that gave up poetry, gave up going to the continent to study poetry, that's Homeworld, Arnie 1. So it lost contact with Arnie 1, and the best they could do was still connect to the records of Fate, and somehow deem Miguel as the watchman for Arnie 1, hence why Miguel was stuck there forever. Wow. This Fate contains a massive amount of historical data dating up to the year 2400. Fate is a large-scale prototype completed in the year 2300. It integrated the old motherbrain computer circuitry into a more powerful supercomputer. This is the observation room. This is where we observe the two parallel worlds. The main computer of Chronopolis is called Fate. So it makes you wonder now that you learn all this, was this just all some humongous science experiment from 2300 AD? Starting from 2300 AD, and then somehow coming into the past. So is this all just some big humongous time experiment, or what? And I know that I have played this game before, yes, but as I said quite a few times, I do not remember this Surge. Oh, for love of God, Surge. Thank you. Oh, we found a card key. Thank you. That's all I needed. So yeah, I have played this game before. I played it to the end, but I was a dumb teenager. I did not understand the ending at all. So for all intents and purposes, as an adult, at least 16 years later, I am looking at this through intensely fresh eyes, like very fresh eyes, and being able to read and understand what the story is what the story in Chronopolis is trying to tell us. It's amazing. So really, though, I'm not sure. Was this all just one big humongous science experiment, or is Fate just doing what it was intended to do after having lost contact with its main people? But at the same time, I'm gonna wait for these things to pass on by. But at the same time, it's like, it did— oh, I thought you were going all the way to the back. Okay, that's fine. Well, I can still talk about it at this moment. Like, so what was the machine— what was Fate thinking? So, Chronopolis— okay, so in 2300, Chronopolis suddenly appeared out of nowhere. And the one that was the leader there was Balthazar, who, if you remember from Chrono Trigger, was— well, he was the guru. Guru of time, guru of life. I don't remember what he was a guru— I could never remember what Balthazar was a guru of. But yes, that's the same name as the person who was the guru, from 12,000 BC. And it makes sense that he would come from 2300 AD, because remember, from the events of 12,000 BC, when Lavos was summoned, Balthazar was flung into 2300 AD, but when Chrono and his friends changed history where Lavos was destroyed in 1999 AD, 2300 AD was, for him now, was the unruined 2300 AD. It was the thriving metropolis. So it makes sense that Chronopolis has managed to survive and make its way here. Only personnel registered as Arbiter may enter. Please conduct security check for verification. Unauthorized entry or tampering with security system will result in death. Operate at your own risk. Fingerprint and retina scan required. Project Kid. Do you see that? Project Kid. I truly don't know what that means. I remember it was called Project Kid, but I don't remember what the project entailed. But really, before I continue on, I have to finish this thought. It's like, Belshazzar came from 12,000 BC, and because of what Chrono and his friends did by destroying Lavos in 1999 AD, instead of going into the ruined 2300, he now was flung into the prosperous 2300 AD, where he created Chronopolis, and then from there managed to teleport the entirety of Chronopolis into 2300 AD? Or is it that— okay, it could be that he did go into a parallel universe with Chronopolis, or because of the things that happened that Chrono did, these folks here were the records that kept the record say that in 2300 AD it suddenly appeared. Maybe because when time was changed, now it just appeared out of thin air. But that wouldn't make sense, because if you're in a timeline, in a particular timeline, you're not going to see the changes that happen from things that were changed in the past. You're just going to continue down your line as if nothing had happened. So I think the idea there of it just suddenly appearing is because Chronopolis was part of an experiment for parallel universe jumping. I think that's what it's saying. So Chronopolis is able to parallel universe jump, And then after Balthazar went missing, the folks that discovered Chronopolis suddenly appearing continue with Balthazar's work up into 2400 AD, into which now these ruins of 2400 AD has jumped far into the past, as we learned from one of the lore dumps, into the past, brainwashed, and wiped the memories of all the personnel that came along with the ride into the past. Those research personnel then went into the Nido Islands that were man-made, manufactured, either through parallel universe jumping or whatnot. They went to populate the islands, and then from there, we come into the now of 1000 AD, where everyone is a descendant of those old researchers, and Chronopolis, this whole time, has been keeping watch and manipulating events throughout the islands to both keep a record of what would happen, while also preserving its own history and preventing anything major from destroying its origin point. Because if its origin point is altered and or destroyed, Chronopolis and Fate will cease to exist. And then from there, what happened 10 years ago when Serge, Wazuki, and Miguel accidentally made their way here, something happened that now Fate no longer has access to manipulate the events of Serge's homeworld. But they can still manipulate the parallel world. They can still, and for untested purposes, they can see both of the records of Fate from both sides, but that's all they can do, all Fate can do. And Fate, as a last-ditch effort, had Miguel become the watchman for Homeworld, because that was all Fate could do to try and gain some insight as to what the hell was going on in Arnie 1. That's the story so far, and my god, I can see why people don't like the story, because it's so confusing. If you can't wrap your head around it, you are just lost forever. But I don't know how I'm able to wrap my head around it, but I wrap it around pretty well, I would hope. Anyway, enough of story time. Fingerprint and retina scan required. Please step inside the circle and hold up your left hand. Okay. Like this. Analyzing. Please stand by. Analysis complete. Fingerprints, retina, and Class C DNA all clear. Data discrepancy due to aging within permissible range. 96% confirmation that this individual is the last registered arbiter. Access granted. Welcome back, Chrono Trigger. Oh, so that is why Lynx needed Serge's form.
Lynx must be already inside then.
Yes, along with the frozen flame.
Yes. Now we realize at this moment why Lynx needed Serge's body so bad.
So that puts into perspective of who the hell is Lynx. How does Lynx know that this was a thing, that this existed? Why did he know? Oh god, I almost went into the battle. Why did he know that Serge was deemed by Chronopolis 10 years ago as Arbiter? How did he know that? The only thing that would make sense is that Lynx is from here. Lynx is from Chronopolis. And he, for whatever reason, wanted to regain access. Well, either gain or regain access, one of the two. So Lynx is from here, quite clear. He's from Chronopolis. There's no way around that. So now the question is, who is he? And we're going to figure that out in the next episode. I know, it's a very short episode, but to be perfectly honest, I felt like, and it was probably not necessary, but I felt like I had to summarize what was going on, in what we learned in Chronopolis, because we learned so much, and I know, because we learned so much in such a short amount of time, how does it all come together? Where does the point A to point B start? And as I just did a few minutes ago, I, to the best of my ability, summarized how Chronopolis fits into the story. That we learned that there's a much larger picture to everything that's going on. And as I said, the story was sectioned off since the beginning. The beginning was, oh, what happened? We somehow went to an alternate universe?
Then we learned that Lynx knew something about it. And we couldn't really progress because the next story was Kid was poisoned, so we needed to save her life. And then now we go follow Lynx because he has the answers as to what's happening to Surge. Well, we follow him, then we go into the next story arc that now Lynx has Surge's body and Surge is Lynx. So I would say that plot point was the longest, where we're trying to get back Surge's body. And then once we got Surge's body, we followed what the dragon said to go into the Sea of Eden. And now we're here in the Sea of Eden at Chronopolis, where we just got a major lore dump about the world's history. Basically the history of the game. Why does this game exist? And we just got that historical dump, like, majorly. And I will leave it at that and say later, everyone. Like, seriously, just later, because I can't think of anything else to say. And I at least remember what happens next the moment I go into this door, so best to stop now while I'm ahead. Later.